Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
Hey, very good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. Thank you to everyone for listening across the Edmonton Sports Talk audio streams at edmontonsportstalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music. Why is my audio stream not working right now?
Restart.
Oh, no, it was just, I think we just had it muted from Saturday and stuff. That's all good. The audio stream didn't miss anything, actually. They're just, the YouTube people are the ones that missed or had me talking about that. It's all good. This is the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage. Thank you, everyone, for listening on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, for watching on YouTube or listening wherever you get your podcast. Tom Gazzola and Matt Iwanyk with you here from the VIP Golf Show on the Ranch Golf and Country Club. We got Murray McCourt. And from Whale and the Wolf and four-time CFL fantasy champion. Ooh. It is Lucas Holt and the San Antonio Texans. If we're talking, and there's 8 championship titles in this room in CFL fantasy. There's 8 hockey titles as a general manager over here. Ooh. Have you ever won championships as a manager?
8 of them.
No, not as a manager. Okay. I have won a Founders Cup.
Okay.
CJHL championship.
We'll give you. So we've got 17 titles between us.
Don't forget that my team slaughtered your team in provincials the year you won that championship. Just saying. Yeah.
What team was that?
Oh my gosh, we need to rehash this again.
Because we kicked the crap out of that league's teams.
No,
we only lost to Spruce Grove.
Well, Spruce Grove, you beat Spruce Grove in the final that year?
We beat Spruce Grove on the way to a Founders Cup championship, and then we lost them 3-2 in the semifinal of provincials.
I think he's lying.
Their goalie stood on his head, and we mopped the floor with every other team in that.
Was this when Troy
tournament.
Ball was playing for him? Because they won 2 back-to-back provincial championships.
They were hosting the year we lost. Yeah, they got some goalie, I think, from the AJ or the Dub. He stood on his head. We peppered him with like 60 shots.
Ball was a forward. He was their leading scorer, best player.
Oh, well, I can tell you Brett Nakonechny and Tom Gazzola were the leading scorers in the league that year.
Oh. Who? Brett was ahead of you.
Brett Nakonechny.
He was ahead of you, though.
I meant the other guy.
He was.
I know Brett. Brett's great.
Yeah.
But without me, there's no Nakonechny, as they used to say.
So they beat you in the one semifinal because we beat Lloydminster in the other semifinal there.
In 07?
Yeah, and then we lost to Spruce in the final when they were hosting.
We were kicking the crap out of everybody, and then Spruce, their goalie stood on his head the one game. I scored, of course. So, but we peppered that. I remember that game vividly. Like, we could not beat this guy. This guy was having the game of his life, and we had like 60 shots on him, and they went on and won that year. So, Murray, it's in the past. We should have won.
The Hangout is brought to you by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transitions. Check out, find a convenient location nearest you online, sentinel.ca. The reason I bring up all those titles, especially the CFL titles, CFL negotiation window officially opened up yesterday, 10 o'clock Mountain Time. As is tradition on the Hangout, full CFL fantasy or full CFL for agency coverage. And that's why Lucas is here. That's why Murray's here. That's why Tommy's here. That's why I am here. There's lots to discuss of what happened. Ed, busier yesterday than I thought he was going to be.
Which makes sense. It is his tampering window. Right?
It is.
So
the reason
he should be doing something.
It's also one of those, I think the Elks signed or announced there was 3 reports in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, he came quick.
And I'm like, well,
so
there's a tampering before the tampering. Before we're going to have another tampering window period or something.
He's just a really quick negotiator.
Yeah. We're going to have
3 phone calls at one time.
We have to start this window a month before actually free agency. But
hey, Ed is he's down to business.
Yeah.
So he may pick up the phone. It takes him 5 minutes. This is what I'm saying. Take it or leave it. I'm on to my next guy. No. And that's how he gets it done. Ottawa, big day yesterday. Winnipeg, a big day yesterday. Hamilton having a bit of a rough day from yesterday.
Big day in the opposite direction. And the Riders too.
And so would the Riders be. That's if you believe that free agency is a big enough day. Last year, Edmonton was by far the biggest winners of free agency. Didn't win them a Grey Cup.
That day they were. That in hindsight they didn't. They were not the winners of free agency last year.
But we've seen, and I will go back to. I remember a number of years ago when Winnipeg was starting their run. They won free agency before that. They brought Stanley Bryan in. They brought a bunch of players, and that first year it didn't work. but they brought those players in to build that foundation, and then you could build off of that. And that's where I think the Elks are for this year. I don't think the Riders or the Red Blacks are that way this year. I think they needed to go out and redo the foundation once again. The Bombers, though, it's interesting. They're looking to retool, get going. Calgary, very quiet.
Toronto, very quiet.
Toronto, quiet. BC, I think, missed out on a few players that they were actually in on. And Montreal, just, I think, quiet, I would say, too, to a degree.
Stearns, and then lost a couple guys. Stearns and Crum were there.
Yeah, Crum went there. Winston McManus looks like he's going to the Ticats as of 13 minutes ago. He was one of the biggest free agents that remained for the free agents that were all there. Let's go through quickly.
He's a baller. Winston McManus.
It's funny too with that rivalry between Hamilton and Toronto. You see a lot of those guys flip flop. Probably wanting to stay in that general area, of course,
like
of the world. But you don't like. How often would you see that, like flip flopping? Calgary to Edmonton, Toronto, and Montreal, hockey terms, right?
Yeah,
you don't see it much.
But you see that happen quite a bit with Toronto and Hamilton.
Luke, I think you're right, though, about like staying in the GTA area. They get really comfortable there.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, too, if a guy's hopping the ship in Toronto and going to Hamilton, especially in recent years, you get rumblings from guys that went through the Argos organization, and they're like, it's not so good behind the curtain.
No, definitely. And I don't think you need to just hear rumblings. Like it's pretty out there in the open that, it's not I don't know what their facilities are like or what goes on there, but I don't think it's the most sought after place to be.
Are you talking Hamilton or Toronto?
Toronto.
Oh, Toronto. Okay, because I was going to say, didn't Hamilton just get the highest grade in that?
Yes,
survey? Yeah,
absolutely.
So
Hamilton for sure. Yeah. But Toronto, when you're like, who knows where you might be practicing, I guess, kind of one day or another. But I do like it too, because it does kind of keep the that rivalry. You have players who you used to love, now you absolutely hate, vice versa, right? So it's good on that.
And that goes back a long time. Mike O'Shea did it.
Yeah.
Orlando Steinauer did it. Joe Montfort did it.
Even like a lot of their defensive backs and stuff. Like I know Peters has like jumped back and forth between the two or whatever, right? Like it's
it's more defense than offense.
Yeah.
Did Brandon Banks go to Toronto?
I don't think he played for Toronto.
So. Okay.
But did Owens?
It might have been Chad. There was a big receiver that I remember that swapped spots. Maybe it was Chad Owens at the end.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Remember.
Yeah.
So I know he played for Toronto. I just don't know if he played for Hamilton or not.
We'll start with the Elks, obviously. What they did yesterday. One is they also restructured defensive back Jalen Gard's rookie contract, keeping him around through 2027. They brought in Malik Carney at $270 per year. It's a 2-year deal for the defensive line. They added 3 offensive linemen, all from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Brendan Bordner, Woodmansey. What's his first name?
Was that Colton?
I think so. As well as Brendan Bodner, by the way, is 2-year agreement for $385 in hard money for combined for those 2 years. He's coming off a rookie deal. And then they signed Jordan Murray.
Sorry, those 3 O-linemen, Canadians or Americans?
Oh, let me take a quick look
One's
right
a
away.
Canadian, I want to say.
Yeah.
And 2 Americans. That's what I think that's what I remember of that one.
So, what do we got here? Jordan Murray is an offensive American to Edmonton. You've got also Taylor Powell's coming to Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
That one's interesting.
Coulter
We'll get to that.
Woodmansey is national. He's from Guelph. And then they don't have it all updated here on their website.
Check on 3 down.
Oh, there it is. American. Brendan Bordner is an American as well. And then Joe Robustelli from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He is now an Edmonton Elks. So those are the moves that we're anticipating. So again, how this works is you can make an agreement verbally. Both teams could back out as long as there's no paper signed. But once paper signed, you can't back out. And then everything will be made official starting next Tuesday is when it can happen. You have until July, or this negotiation window ends February 8th, and then on the 10th, it opens up. But add 3 offensive linemen, defensive linemen, wide receiver, quarterback. A little bit of a busy first day for Mr. Ed Hervey.
Mm-hmm. I think that we kind of, you said you didn't expect that?
I didn't.
The offensive line, I think that was something we all saw coming, and he did a pretty,
I didn't think 3.
pretty good job.
Because I look at those Bear guys in Beard, Cordy, and O'Donnell. I'm like, okay, there's three that are staying. You got Martez Ivy on the left tackle, who 2 years ago was the best offensive lineman in the CFL. Last year, maybe a bit of a step back. So to me, I was like, okay, can you go get one more spot to bolster that old line? You brought in three. So who's the odd man out to a degree? I think of those three guys, one's probably a backup. So of two of those guys from Hamilton, who's out from the other four that I said? And I'll tell you who's not out. It is not Carter O'Donnell. So between Beard, Cordy, and Ivy, who's out?
I think what I was seeing was Ivy would be the one. But the depth is not a bad thing, is it?
No.
No, not especially in that position.
Just because you do put these guys to paper and you bring them into training camp does not mean that you can't cut one later too, right? I know a few years ago we brought in a couple of guys during free agency and then we're cutting camp. So just because you are bringing them in, it could be take a look at them and get rid, see what you got. Bringing in competition at camp, never a bad thing either. But like you said, Murray, too, like depth is not a bad thing. And to have a lot of depth on your O-line because guys do go down. And when you don't have an O-line, not much time for Fajardo. Luckily, he does have legs, but he takes a little bit of injury in that leg and he can't move around, then what do you got there, right? So, yeah, depth, especially on that O-line, is a huge thing to have.
The other piece on those two American offensive linemen that they signed, one of them was a bench player for Hamilton pretty much all year, backing up the other guy that Edmonton signed. And then late in the year, they weren't happy with the guy that was playing all year. They benched him at the end of the year in the last game or two of the season. The other guy came in and played in the playoffs for him. And now, so they're both here now. So the interesting to see where those two guys end up falling on the depth chart for Edmonton and which one wins and which one doesn't based on what just happened with them in Hamilton. Kind of interesting story.
Ed would know these guys, obviously.
He has signed a lot of Hamilton players over the last 2 years.
Yep.
So here's a question for you guys on that, because obviously we're going heavy in the Ed Hervey tree and what he knows. I thought that with Mark Killam coming from Calgary, that starting this year we'd see a wave of Calgary guys coming up to want to play for him, and we haven't seen that. What do you guys?
You haven't seen a whole lot of guys coming out of Calgary.
Yeah.
And you haven't seen a lot of guys going into Calgary either. I'm not sure if they know that yesterday was the start of the tampering window or not. Maybe they thought it was today. But
Dave's fishing.
They're
in
waiting
Montana.
till it opens on the 10th.
it is questionable that, like,
What do we got?
what is going kind of on there? Like, they seem to kind of be like,
Well,
windows locked, shuttered up, and doors closed. Like, yeah,
good
it's a
point, Luke.
question.
The only thing that I recall from last year, 12 starters, brand new, on the defensive side of the ball to start the season. And then the other thing, every time I'd be down there to do a game, is how much of the brotherhood existed in that feeling of family and camaraderie. So maybe they have the buy-in from the guys that we're going to see minimal movement from them. And to get...
I wonder what their amount of free agents that are. Like, I haven't actually.
So they've signed. So they have about, I want to guess it's 29 players
that are free agents
that were pending free agents going into this off season, because it looks like there's about 15 guys, if I counted correctly, that extended, and 14 guys that are either released by them or have not signed anywhere.
Yeah,
but like none of their guys have signed yesterday.
Maybe they told teams that were interested in them, hey, I'm staying in Calgary kind of thing.
But the other part is I look at some of these names and I don't see
like a big namer.
I don't see too many names that you're just like.
Is Hicks on there?
No. Like Justin Herman Reed, who's a linebacker national, like he's kind of special teams type of guy. Yeah. Malik Henry's just battled a lot of injuries.
Henry,
I'm not
didn't he not sign with BC?
Did Malik Henry sign? Because they're not showing anything on the CFL website then.
The CFL website is probably the last place.
I went to it just before we started the show, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Toronto FC signed Malik Henry from Toronto FC 2 in August of 2025.
That's who I was thinking of.
I don't see anything on a quick look with Google. But like, who else is there? Like, of the names, like Adam Bighill, he's going to be retiring probably again. Lorenzo Malden IV. He's a free agent.
He would be okay.
Dominic Rhymes is a free agent who's a really solid receiver for them, but there's not a lot there. So like they kept their guys that are key contributors, but they also haven't gone out really and signed anyone. Like, have they? Did they sign anyone?
A defensive back, Deodric Bynum.
Oh, yeah, from the Elks.
Yeah, and
Who
and
wasn't
that's it. No one's gone. And that's
notable.
all they've done so far.
And then they
yes,
re-upped
this morning.
Dietrich Mills, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
But like they were such a weird team last year because they started off and up until Labor Day they were the best team in the CFL. They were dominant. Took down the Bombers 3 times. Took down the Riders twice.
Yeah.
We're just good.
Yeah.
And then
D-line
it
took
all fell apart.
Yeah, their D-line was decimated.
They got hurt a lot.
Yeah, around that time.
Their success was not expected though in the first place.
Yeah,
correct.
Everyone had them bottom team in the West, and they came out guns a blazing. So good for them. But I think maybe a little bit of reality set in towards the tail end with them.
Yeah. They almost upset BC. That game, that last 2 minutes was ridiculous, or 3 minutes.
That was a great
In the West Final.
Yeah, that was a great ending. Actually, that was right about the start of Game 7 of the World Series or something. Or I think that's what it was, like Game 7. Because I remember I was at my cousin's house, and like we had to go to a second TV. They opened up a second TV for everyone to start watching Game 7 or something. And a few of us were watching the end of that game.
Yeah.
So we're like, this is incredible. Because it was just all over the place.
Yeah.
And hopefully that stays in the Canadian Football League. We didn't lose anything like with that moving forward.
They have said that they're keeping that though, right? Like the last 3 minutes is going to stay the same. as what they've had
20-second play
before.
clock, yeah. I think that's what they
That's
had
what
on
they
the
want to
side.
go with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when the field goal posts move, what happened? Like that's not next year. That's not this upcoming season. That's 27 is where we're going to really see like all that's changing is the rouges. It's a modified rouge,
The benches.
the bench and the play clock,
Yeah.
which I think might see more plays actually this year.
We'll see. I'm withholding judgment until we see what
I
happens
think
with
everyone
it.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
28 will be the off season, like where there'll be a lot of discussions of this was great, this sucked, or it's about the same, whatever.
It will get people talking, and that's never, I guess, a bad thing for the CFL. More people are talking about it one way or another.
Do you think that any of these changes are actually going to get
Nope.
more eyeballs on the game? I'd agree.
The only way would be if there is like that kind of that uproar, that it is like top news feeds when people are tweeting about it, like that would be the only way that I can see it. But in a sense, and that's not a good way. Like you're not going to bring in 20-something-year-olds. The whole reason why we started, like, and the CFL's had this issue with like figuring out how to get with the young crowd. Like the whole reason why we started our CFL fantasy league was they started doing something, and the prize was a Joseph Aboud suit. So you could do this fantasy thing through TSN or through CFL or whatever it was, but you're going to get like, and we were sitting at our place. Maddie just brought this story up at our meetings, but like as a 20-something-year-old sitting at our house, like having beers, watching the game, I don't want a suit. You know what I mean? Like that's not.
But it's Joseph Aboud.
Why would that bring me in?
Who is Joseph Aboud?
You need one,
I
though.
looked him
Well,
up.
yeah, sure.
They're nice.
But I, like,
They
I
are,
was
but
like,
we're like sitting there, we're like,
Trendy
who's
dinner
Joseph
parties.
Aboud? Like,
Yeah.
is it? And there's this guy in this commercial. Like, is he Joseph Aboud?
He was in the commercials. I remember looking it up.
We didn't know if that was him or not.
Yeah.
And then there was always like, and they'd always joke afterwards. I'm like, or you can win a trip to the Great Cup. I'm like, why isn't that the main
that
prize?
should be the prize,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But that's the same thing with this, is that where you're talking about moving the end zones, shortening the field, moving the goalposts, all this kind of stuff, and that's supposed to attract people. Like, no, you have that league, which is either going on right now or in a little bit, and that doesn't attract people. What attracts people, and what we all know, and why people really, really got into the NFL over the last 10 to 15 years was the fantasy, was the betting. People didn't have teams, and they still kind of don't have teams, but they have their team, and they want Diggs to do good because we have him, and I need 38 points to beat my buddy.
Yeah.
Like that's why you get it. That's why you care. That's why you watch all Sunday. That's why you get Sunday ticket. That's why we watch a Montreal-Ottawa game on a Thursday night, because we have a guy in that we need to beat somebody with, right? So no, is it going to attract people? I highly doubt it. But if it does, if there is this talk of expansion, and they have not ruled it out, they haven't said for it either yet, I guess it would make it easier to move into United States markets if you have fields somewhat similar to what.
It's soccer-sized field, so you can find a soccer stadium and go, we could plop a team there. But that even also is Halifax too, because they're working on I think a stadium for the Wanderers.
Okay.
And it would be even just to expand for Canada, even 10 teams. It isn't, we need this football stadium. We can find a smaller stadium.
Multi-stadium.
Yeah, we can find something a little bit better that would fit into this. The one thing I'll say on the rule change, the only way I could see maybe more fans directly from the rule changes is if Stuart Johnson is correct, even though Dave Dickinson, he's kind of, and Danny Machocha kind of like, we don't know if we believe these numbers, but it's that there'll be such an increase of touchdowns from being so close to the engine with those post moves. If there is a legit increase in touchdowns scored, and this league scores a little bit more, and because of that, with the field goal post pushed to the back, they say that, people that are in favor of these rules say, well, you're going to see teams go for it more on third down as opposed to punt. So if we see more possessions turn into more points as opposed to punts, maybe that brings some people in. But then I think the argument that you'll have from,
I see more punts than more going for it.
I do, but if they're saying, but if the way they outlined it is instead of kicking that field goal on 3rd and 4, you're not going to punt, so you're going to go for it, which means you're going to get a first down, or if the other team's going to be closer, whatever. Yeah. And then you could score touchdowns because the middle of the end zone isn't blocked by field goal posts. This is going to be more scoring. The counter that I think if that does actually happen will be, it's too easy to score in this league. That's what the counter will be. Like, oh yeah, it's just too easy.
Well, what else is it?
Where's the
offensive league?
Where's the defense? Like that will be the argument they'll be put. But that's the one way I could see maybe that these rules directly could bring some new fans. Is all of a sudden our scores are 40 to 30 every single week.
Are you going to do anything to get that word out? Do you know what I mean? Like, so like,
hey. Stay a little too far, Lucas.
But that's the thing. You can do all this stuff, but if you have no social media presence, if you have no TV presence, like there isn't. The only thing that you have outside of your games during a week of broadcasting is CFL Wired. Like, are you not going to do anything to put in money into actually, like, maybe a show, maybe somebody, talking about it each week, fantasy talk on CFL?
Jim Mullen has that show, doesn't he? It's like noon.
When? 1 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. But again, he's also talking about other stuff. It's not just a CFL driven show, right? And like, you got to do that kind of stuff too. You got to have a better presence online. You got to. It's always been, we got to do all this, but there's other things that you can do that doesn't completely flip the script on what you have right now, because it is a good product. Or else we wouldn't be talking about this, or else it wouldn't be going up in the cap for the last 2 years. It is a good product. And I have never heard anybody say, I don't watch the CFL because the goalposts are in the front of the end zone.
No.
Well, I got to follow up to that, because we're all kind of on the same page that we don't necessarily think it's going to attract more fans. Do you think that with the field being more similar to American football, that it's going to attract more players that would be more interested in coming up here and playing because of the it's a little more similar to what
money talks, Murray. And I think I wouldn't be too out of the realm of sanity to say if Canada had the TV deals that the United States did, and let's just flip it, that we have $1 billion whatever it is salary cap, and they have the 5.6. You could be playing 2-down football, and these guys would be coming up for $80 million contracts.
Well, what happened? The Joe Theismann came up here famously. Rocket Ishmael came up when their salaries were. There was ability to compete with the money.
They always say that it's a lesser than league because you're getting players that can't make it. Well, yeah. People are going to go and take the money. That's why they leave the CFL to go to the NFL. Yeah. If we had the salary cap that the NFL did, guys would be coming up. You would be able to attract these people. If they only had a $5 million, no one would go be playing American football because they'd be coming up and playing Canadian football. If you're going to get paid, they will come. If it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think we get solid talent up here. Like, look, Austin Max, Ohio State.
For sure.
Is it Benjamin Victor?
And some guys
or
are
is it Benjamin Victor, or is it Allaire? One of those two. I think Victor might be Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like, so we do still see a lot of
big school guys coming.
Big schools coming up here. And like you're not getting the top end guys, but I still think that there's enough big players and enough good word of mouth that I don't think anyone looks at the field and goes,
No. But they think it's less for them because they're not down there making, again, $50 million a year. You're getting $250,000 a year to come up and play here.
Canadian too. That's part
that's
of it.
True.
That might be the one thing they might want to switch.
But if you were able to provide
American
guys
money.
$1, $2, $3 million contracts, if your salary cap was big enough, you would start seeing more talent come up here and wouldn't go down and stay on a practice roster in America because they're making $700,000 or $800,000, right? Like, our game is good. It's just we don't have the finances behind it in order to provide these guys that type of money.
And that's part of this is the American Hockey League to the National Hockey League. Part of the league is you want the players to go and be in the top league and go do well. You're trying a little bit of that stepping stone. Yeah. But if you're not good enough for there, or if it hasn't worked out, we're a great league for you to continue your football career because you don't have a lot of other places to go. And
you show up and you show out and you can be right back down there too, right? Like that's a thought process for a lot of these guys. You see a lot of them. Who is it? Elford, who was the first round pick for Calgary. That 6'7" receiver that just went down and signed with.
Oh, Damien Elford.
Yeah. Well, Dante Myers too. Like these guys showed up and showed out last year, and now they're getting a shot down in the NFL, right? So,
Austin Mack was in it with Atlanta. Yeah. Reggie Begelton went to Green Bay.
Shepley, who just signed with Toronto too. With the Giants.
Reggie Begelton actually played with Green Bay too.
Yeah. Brandon Browner before his unfortunate issues with the law. Like he was a Calgary Stampeder cornerback.
Wasn't he a Pro Bowler too?
He went to Seattle. It was fantastic.
Champion, like he's
Cam Wake. Yeah. Didn't the Riders just have somebody come back this year from the NFL?
A Joe.
That's who it was. Yeah. Who's Canadian too?
Yeah.
So
played at Clemson.
Yeah.
So
big school. You've got to think that playing in the CFL is going to be better for your development than sitting on a practice roster in the NFL. You're going to get paid more, sure, and maybe you're an injury tour away from getting on the roster if you're on the practice roster. But if you're not going to play, you're probably better off playing in the CFL, aren't you?
But that's kind of where free agency comes into it. And like a lot of these guys will, especially younger guys will want to go and test free agency in order to make their bank because who knows how long your lifespan is in professional football, right? Like you could be done any minute. And so make
the average
money
NFLer is about 3 seasons.
Yeah, and that's where I think when Strevler went down, didn't he spent 3 seasons down there and now he's got pension or something?
No, you have to be on the active roster. They're not on practice roster.
But I think he was active.
He started.
I think he ended up getting.
But there's a certain amount of games that if you're active roster, you're now part of NFL pension, which is a big deal.
So that's guys.
I believe it's Senior Mobley. It's famous. Like he just missed out on his NFL pension. Like it was devastating. Like that just missed out on Clint getting into the NFL pension.
But going back to like the money side of things, like you see when back before kind of my time when things were a little closer in compensation for players, like you had a guy like Warren Moon, you had Rocket Ishmael, like they were guys who were playing in the CFL going down to the NFL and NFLers choosing the CFL because they were getting paid, actual money.
That was like the 70s, early 80s, maybe.
Okay, I want to counter something here for a number of reasons, but Big Maple Bets. Just as I support people who love what they love, I just can't find the spark in the CFL. But then that's another thing, Lucas. A lot of the guys in CFL have to find employment in the offseason. It shouldn't be like that. Well, 2 things. There's nothing wrong with having to find, it doesn't take away from the quality of the sport. But 2, that's kind of not necessary for most guys nowadays.
Not much anymore. No.
The minimum salary in the Canadian Football League is over $70,000, I believe. Canadian.
Yes.
That's the minimum salary.
Minimum. Yeah.
And that's for 6 months of work.
That's right.
Yeah,
like a lot of these players are making over $100,000, but let's say even over $80,000. How many people for people an $80,000 a year salary
for half a year?
This is half a year.
6 months.
People get $80,000 a year salary for 12 months, and it's something to live off of. You don't need a second job from that.
Yeah.
These
Plus
guys
your
have
living
6 months.
expenses, your per diems and other
appearances now.
That's most guys' second jobs now, though, is if they stick around, they're getting paid by the team to go do public appearances. Yeah,
exactly.
So they get paid
there's
for
that extra cash. Absolutely. But so you get 6 months of pay. You could just go. You could spend a lot more time just working out in the off season because you don't need
or
that.
Being a trainer, which a lot of these guys do as well.
Chris Moore is famous for having been a teacher while playing.
Yep.
That they were the only team in the league that practiced in the afternoon because he vetoed morning practices so he can go practice because he first had to be at school and then go there.
Yeah.
You don't hear those stories as much anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
I
several
have
teachers.
DMs with the CFL player last season helping them look for a job. Okay, but that's so minimal, dude.
But that's
Like that's small amounts. Again, the majority of these guys are there. And why does that take away whether it should almost like the league more in a way that it humanizes them?
yeah. They're out in the community. You're able to still go and touch them. Basically, like it's not. You have to line up for 7 hours in the West Edmonton Mall to get a picture of without, you know what I mean? Like there is a humanizing side to the CFL as well. And if they have to go get a job, then you know, okay, they'll sell cars like most of them do.
NLL
or
is trash.
Yeah.
In that sense too, because the NLL practices 1 day a week because everybody is working throughout the week. They fly into their city, they practice once, they play their game, then they fly back to work. So why is the NLL elite?
But this is also my where I go back to the point of because we don't have $100 million salary cap in order to pay these players, that it's some reason it's trash.
JMO
because
always
these
said they
guys
should
have
just lie about these salaries.
well,
just
sure,
add an extra
they
zero.
make $10 million a year, right? But
Malik Carney is making $2 million this year.
But this is why, like,
Not
just
200.
because this guy has to go out and get a second job, or whoever it was needs to get a second job, that this league is garbage. Well, no, it's the fact that there's people, I guess, aren't going out to support it. For one,
That's
you have
ding.
you have one broadcaster
Yeah.
who takes care of this, and they do a good job. But you don't have Fox,
your
you
mouth.
don't have ABC, you don't
You
have
guys are great.
CBS.
Point. Mustard Point, we're back. We're back, Mustard Point. We're good. Don't know what we missed there. One of the last things was, if all of a sudden all these guys were making $1 million as opposed to 100,000, 200,000, now all of a sudden the football is better as opposed to it already being the second best professional football league on the planet. And you got guys like Chad Ochocinco who famously still talk about this league going, damn, it's good football down there. And a lot of these guys could play here in the NFL. He's
Heisman
talking
winners
about.
who got knocked out and couldn't complete a pass in Johnny Manziel. You know,
Yeah,
like it's I just that whole argument about it because the guys don't get paid. Well, there isn't money to pay them. They're still good players.
Go and support it,
Yeah.
and there will be money
Yeah.
to pay them.
But how about
that's
this
such a
though?
thing.
If we're saying like this is kind of like the American Hockey League of football, or it's the second best league in the world, the American Hockey League is the minor leagues to the NHL. It's the second best professional
league in
hockey
Canada
league
or in North America.
in the world. Those guys get paid a pittance compared to what CFL players get
true.
paid, and their
That's a good
seasons are way longer, so they don't even have the opportunity to be generating additional revenue for themselves and their families that the CFL guy does. So, I mean, if you're comparing second best league to second best league, the CFL is substantially better than the American Hockey League in that regard.
I think it's more like a European league. You still get good crowds. You got its own thing.
It's a different and embrace it for what it is. But again, to poo-poo on it and say that it's brutal because guys have to get a second job. Well, that's sorry. Like
The other part to this, I will also stand by why we need the Canadian Football League. There's two reasons. And then let's get back. We need to get back to the free agent conversations. One is we don't have a lot of weeks like Grey Cup week in Canada where the country could come together and just have a good party. It's that in the Junos. That's kind of it that we have in this country. If you lose Grey Cup week,
Hockey Olympic gold medal.
that's only every 4 years. That's
Every
a
4 years.
one-day
Fair.
thing.
NHLers are playing. How
Yeah.
many people pay attention to the last two without
None.
NHLers?
Yeah, that's a good
There's
point,
something
yeah.
about Grey Cup week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. People fly in, and many just fly out. They don't even stay for the game. They just want to be there for that party. Juno week, when it was in Edmonton a couple years ago, I went to see your boys' show.
oh yeah.
And I realized, there's a little bit of a vibe in that host city that comes from it. We don't have a lot of those ones. No.
Yeah.
The second thing is, outside, unless you're Toronto or Vancouver, you're never going to get American football professionally again. If Edmonton folded and Calgary folded and the Riders folded, there's no league knocking on the door. The NFL's not knocking on the door here.
No.
And the UFL, if that ever turns into something,
It's dying already.
absolutely, it absolutely is. And if they were looking to go across the border, it's Toronto, it's Vancouver, it's not Edmonton, it's not Calgary. So to watch live professional American football,
Yeah.
it's done if we lose the Canadian Football League. It's that simple.
Was there not in the 80s the World Football League in Montreal had a team or something like that? I remember seeing some highlights.
I think you're right about
And
that.
it was American rules football, and it died. Montreal had a team, and then obviously they were without a football team for a while till the Alouettes went back in '96. But it won't work. I'm sorry, it won't work. Okay, we're not getting American.
There's a part of the
NFL
there is
team.
still something that's very beautiful about the CFL, and it'll stay that way as long as we can kind of, just get out of our ways of that mentality of thinking. But there's the community side of it. Like you are part of something. You go down to a tailgate, and I'm happy that more places are allowing tailgating at their games. But you go down to Edmonton tailgate, and everyone's a big family there. You're having fun, whether you drink or not. You're eating food. It's a good time. And I don't know if you get that. Like you don't. Like I'm sure I don't go to a whole lot of Oiler games, and I'm sure there is that feel of it. But there's a difference. There's a difference where everybody is still included here. Do you know what I mean? Whether you're rich or poor or whatever you're doing, like you're still got that small town feel about the CFL, which I think should be embraced. And
there's an argument to be had that the best Oiler fans can't get in to watch an Oiler game.
Right.
There's an argument to be had for that.
Right. And it's no different. Like when you see a Stanley Cup game, like who's able to shell out a couple $1,000s to go to these games and stuff? Like somebody will, and they'll go in debt, and who cares, money later. But yeah, you're the guys that seem to know the most and be as much passionate are the ones sitting at BPs watching the games, because that's where they can get in, right? You're not going to spend your hard-earned, but where you can still go to an Elks game, you can still go to a Stampeders game or whoever you cheer for, and still get a family in for a single ticket on a Tuesday night against Columbus.
But if you need a second job, you're not a good enough professional player because you need a second job. If you can't get into a Stanley Cup final game, are you truly a top fan then?
Great question.
Are you really as good of a fan then, or could we? No.
I don't know. When these players go to small communities and they go to schools and stuff like that, and the kids' eyes light up because they're actually coming to your school and they're talking to you, like, I don't know. They seem like pros to me, whether they have to take a second job.
And there are, and this is a football thing just in general, there's just some great stories in football. Players, working their way up. Those stories are absolutely wonderful. And sadly, we don't have enough media to go cover those, because that's where the writers were also huge back in the day, and we've lost the writers. But getting those stories out there are absolutely...
Edmonton just signed one of those stories. The receiver we got from Saskatchewan. What a crazy story that is.
Big time.
Joe Robustelli?
Yeah.
What do you make of Joe Robustelli as a player?
I don't know enough yet. There, like I was saying to Murray before the mics came on, like there were games where he was putting up numbers and he was catching everything. Then there was other games where it was almost like he was kind of scared to catch the ball, either taking a hit or whatever. So like I'm still out on him. Again, depending on what Edmonton paid for him, it could be a great signing. If it was an overpayment, then I don't know. There isn't enough, especially for an American receiver, that I haven't seen enough of yet. Liked him with the Riders, and if he could have stayed, if he had another year, I would have been. This year will be his coming out. Whether he's a star in this league or he kind of fizzles away, this is a big year for him if he can take that next step. And he's now on a team too where. If he will be the number 2 guy, this is where that next step can happen. In Saskatchewan, you kind of had, a plethora of receivers at that point where he might see his game every 4 or 5 games. Here now, he can really maybe take that next step in being star receiver, all-star receiver.
I will say, Joe Robustelli, I'm just looking at his stats this year. Best game is 191 yards with the touchdown.
That was against Calgary, right?
Yeah, early. He had
His total. Wasn't that 1/3 of his total production?
Yeah, he had
in that one
544
game, so-
and 3 touchdowns. He had 75 yards
But
and
he
a
wasn't-
touchdown late against Toronto, 72 yards against Winnipeg, and then a lot of every other game was basically under 40 yards. The thing I'll say is between Robustelli, Keon Julian Grant,
O.J.
Victor
Allaire.
Benjamin, OJ Olaire, I think you got a lot of guys that fill in as a number 3. I don't think there's anyone I would sit comfortably and say is a true number 2 yet in the Canadian Football League. But that's what makes this training camp, it's nice because there's a number 2 spot. Who's taking it?
Exactly.
Who wants to be the number 1-2 receiver on this team? Who wants to then stay in their number 3 position? And who wants to drop and be a number 4 receiver on this team?
But going back to Robustelli too, he wasn't an every game player either. They did have to move around due to ratio wise and stuff like that. So he wasn't playing every game. And he did battle some injury issues too. But when he did play, he was a target. He was a big guy. Again, just sometimes there is a kind of those questions of like, were you afraid of taking a hit there or what, right? But having it open, having a bunch of number 3s and having that number 2 spot open, heck yeah, man. Give me that all day. I'd like to see guys go at it as opposed to just, you got 1 or 2 big guys and they demand the ball all the time. Open it up.
I think it's a stretch to think that he'll be the number 2 guy here.
Robustelli?
Yeah.
Why? Although it's like you're hoping that I'll put those 3 games, okay, 191 and a touchdown, a little high for the 191, right. But then 75, 72. If this is a guy that could put 70 to 90 yards a game, can he do that on a more consistent basis?
I think a stretch now, and that's where, given the opportunity to be that 2, can you take it and run with it? Because that's where we're going to see, right? Like I think he can, given the opportunity to play every game and have that. Because I guess what I'm saying is that like when he does, if he's only catching for 40 yards in a game, when he does drop that one ball where you're like, man, it will stick in your head more. As opposed to like if you are a number 2, you're not gonna catch everything all the time. But if you're getting 100 and some yards with one drop, that one's not gonna stick out as much as maybe when it's your only target in that game, right?
Well, yeah. Like, so now this is obviously there's a lot of reasons that could go behind this, but like the 191, he had 11 catches on 12 targets. The 75-yard game, 5 catches on 7 targets. 72 yards, he even had 3 catches and 8. So there's a couple misses there. Who knows? Again, there's bad throw maybe. Yeah. But then you go to the other games and it's like 24 yards, 2 of 5. 28 yards, 5 of 7. 21 yards, 3 of 6. So what, like, but there's probably a drop somewhere in there when you're only pulling in 21 yards. Like, well, man,
it'll stand out.
Read that. You need that one. 6'3", 220.
Yeah, so he's a big possession receiver. So a lot of that could be like a 2nd and 3.
Yeah.
You just chuck him the ball, getting that first down.
Well, and that's a great point because like it's also situational when that drop happens. If it's 2nd and 3 and that drop happens, you're like, dude.
Yeah, fair.
As opposed to, first down or whatever it might be. But the Elks offense it's going to be... It has the potential to be pretty strong if one of these receivers does step up to take the number 2, and if Ostomac stays healthy.
And your running game is still there. You got
Rankin, you got Leak, who got extended as well. You've got Cody Fajardo, and you've got what looks like a bolstered offensive line. Jordan McSimic, an extra year with this team, knows who starting quarterback's going to really be for the whole year. There's a making of a little bit of an offense that could go there.
Now, how do you feel about your defense? Because your special teams is pretty. You found a kicker, right?
Yeah. Developing a kicker.
That's the word. That's a great word for it. They're still developing a kicker,
and that's okay. Like, you can't keep flopping them in and out every year either, right? Like, you got to get somebody and get some continuity. And
Cody Grace is back.
No,
it's Jake Julian.
Julian's back. Yeah.
That's who it is.
Returner's good.
Returner's good.
Cody Grace lived in our building, by the way. Yeah. Great guy.
Retired though, I think.
I think he went back to Australia. I ran into him when he was going back. He's like, I got tea time on Tuesday, mate. And I was like, you lucky son of a...
Yeah, he's a golfer. He played a lot of the ranch with the guys, so yeah.
Sorry. No, that's fine. So I think you're good there. Defense, I'm actually a big fan of.
Yeah.
Because when all those injuries happened last year, you saw the replacements come up. And I think we also saw J.C. Sherrod improve as a defensive coordinator from start of the year to the end of the year. I think he started off very poorly. And then he really improved. And knew when to blitz and was very positional on that. And then from a defensive line perspective, like the only player I'm sad because he signed with Toronto is Kongbo left. But they're bringing in Malik Carney.
Yeah.
But you've got Carney, you've got Brinkman still, you got Robbie Smith, Noah Taylor, Noah Curtis. Curtis is the one that got hurt last year at the start of the year. But Noah Taylor was strong. Brandon Barlow was really good for this team last year. They really learned with the rotation, it could work. You've got Niles Morgan is gone, but now Nick Anderson is probably going to move to middle. DeBlanco looked really good last year. You still have Mogensen, who filled in for Niles Morgan so well. So you got a nice backup there. You've got Logan Jr. as the other linebacker. And then your secondary, you've got J.J. Ross and Terrell Ford, who were beasts.
Royce Metche.
Well, but he's going to be banged up to start the year. Jalen Garnes is who they restructured. He was great in the safety position.
And he can slide up to linebacker every now and then, too.
And then you got Cordell Jackson, who was excellent. So, like, the only hole right now I don't know is Kobe Williams was the other member of that secondary who's not signed at this moment. I don't know if he's coming back or if they're going to sign someone else. So I actually do like, with what I saw to end the season of the Elks last year, and with how many returning players there are from that, and then what they're supplementing it with Malik Carney, I do like where that defense is.
It looks like Calgary did wake up because Jawan Brissett is going to the Stamps.
They also re-upped Moncrief. That's the one I forgot. They kept him in-house, too.
Calgary? Yeah.
Where was Brissett?
Toronto. But a Canadian
Was he there
receiver.
the whole
Good.
time?
Yeah.
Was he always in Toronto?
Yeah, he had that big one against Hamilton where
I thought he was somewhere else, though.
Threw the ball up between two defenders. He caught it, ran it all the way down to like the 2-yard line. They kicked the field goal. I think it was for like the Labor Day game. But yeah, Brissett, good Canadian guy there too.
It seems like there's a lot of depth at a lot of key positions with the Elks, though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of depth.
Yeah,
and which is great to see. And the piece that we don't know anything about yet, and we never really do until they're here. But Ed Hervey is very well known for finding great players and bringing them up, and you're like, who the heck is this guy? And that's number 2 receiver. I mean, none of us knew who Brandon Zylstra was until he was Brandon Zylstra.
Yeah.
And like, holy crap, who's this guy, right? So that number 2 receiver could be somebody we never know about. Or, I mean, it could easily be one of these guys step up, but, another great DB find or whatever. I mean, all these guys that we were talking about that were the secondary guys, who were they? But
they all start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, last year I did a lot in free agency, and I can't recall too many of those names that actually did well for the team this year. Terrell Ford did.
But like you were saying though too, when they got these injuries and the secondary guys came up, like a lot of those guys are your
the
guys
starters
that you found, right?
Exactly,
like you didn't go out and had to get somebody else's stuff. Like you brought them, you got them here, probably still on cheaper contracts too,
Absolutely, yeah.
right? So yeah,
I'm encouraged by OJ Hilaire and Zach Mathis is another one. Benjamin Victor, couldn't you guys said, couldn't one of those guys rise to the occasion? Julian Grant, he had the dropsies every now and then, but
he also had some really big games.
he had some huge ones and clutch catches, but
we all remember that one.
against Hamilton,
Right.
And
there's a
those
couple
are
of
the
ones that
back
stick
and forth
out, right?
against
Yeah.
Winnipeg, yeah.
But there was one game though where it might have been Saskatchewan, where he had a big drop, and then the next play he got a touchdown.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
And it was just like,
Montreal.
and it was just the mix, oh my god, you drop in this ball, and then all of a sudden you make this big play and you get a touchdown. But
one thing,
I don't know what to make of Julian Grant.
and what's really nice for the Elks too is you do have a year finally of continuity where it comes to your coaching staff,
players,
a lot of players. It's not a full-on rebuild. It's not moving guys.
When
It's
was the
not.
last
It's
time
not
this
one guy
happens?
being general manager, head coach, defensive coordinator. Like you have, you're now kind of set up. You're
18
lack
to
of a-
19 might have been the last time that happened.
Yeah.
lack of a better term, like you're out of the shit now, right?
Yeah.
You're all that garbage that was happening before that you had to slug through and get through, and now you have your head coach, you have your defensive coordinator, you have your offensive coordinator. They're there. You have your GM. Everything is in place. Now you can start, right? Foundation. It's key.
I'm just because 2018, they had Jason Moss, they had their team. No, and then 19, but then that was the change to Trevor Harris.
In 18?
18 to 19. But Moss was still there. Sunderland was still there. A lot of players,
you had some questions though, even when you did have.
But that was maybe the last time there'd have been the closest continuity from a roster position. No, but there was a lot of changes that offseason.
Even when you
I don't
had
know the
like,
last time
when you had like Rhodes and you had Sutherland, okay, they were there, but there was still kind of like you heard a lot of rumblings about these guys, and it's just kind of like it doesn't seem like it's the best place to be. I
think so.
It wasn't,
I think we might be looking 16, 17.
Right.
When it was the last time we've seen continuity where the coaching staff was still there, because even Chris Jones left from 15 to 16. So it might be 16, 17 since the last time this organization saw a little bit of continuity
10 years ago.
across a lot of positions, as you say, from GM to coaching staff to players. That's a lot of changing that's constantly happening.
It's 10 years. It's a decade.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, half of that's COVID though. Like COVID made it, like we were just talking about before too, like 1 year contracts. Every year, everyone's a free agent in
But-
the whole freaking league. Like it's
But
been
Jamie
hard to get that.
Elizondo comes in for 21. Then everyone gets blown out. Chris Jones comes in. He goes through 100 and some players that next season.
Well, let's not even talk about Chris Jones. Now you have Victor Chu and you have
Kui with-
and you have these.
all at the top. Yeah.
Rick Lawler
But
comes back.
That's where it's like, and that's not even COVID. Like Chris Jones wasn't because of COVID. It was the roster he took over was trash.
Yeah.
So he needed to try to, and like he was just trying to throw as many things at the wall to see what would stick.
And coaching caps where you're having to pay out. Well, you're just. That's what I mean. Now all that is done. You've paid those penalties, all that dead money, all that crap. I
don't think there'd be anything. I think Chris Jones would have came up last year.
Yeah.
I think they're clear. They're clean and clear now as an organization for the first time in a really long time. Yeah. And now to see if they could keep building from this. I like where they are. And looking at before even free agency, I did say I predict a 4-1 start to the season. It's been a long time since I predicted the Elks to have a winning record through the first 4 or 5 weeks.
Remember when Scott Milanovic was the coach?
Hey, never lost a game as an Edmonton head coach. He had never lost a game with this organization. He never won a game, but he never lost a game with this franchise.
Yeah.
That was an exciting signing though.
It was.
It was going to be like, I think it got everyone's attention up. Like, okay, here we go. We got something like finally because of the doldrums that we kind of been in for a while. But we haven't coined it the decade of darkness for the
because it's 2 decades.
It's 2 decades of darkness. Yeah.
It's win the Grey Cup in 2005. Since then, 3 home playoff dates.
That's the crazy part. Is the 3 home playoff dates in 2 decades.
Like think about what this organization was pre 2005.
Yeah.
Like if I was to tell you at that time, this organization, you're only going to get 3 home playoff dates.
Right. And
over the next 20 years, people would be like, "You're crazy. This is the Eskimos. No chance.
Right.
We're gonna that's what we do."
Well, it's sad that the organization has gone from the elite organization in the league to, starting to trend back up again. But it was
bad.
Bad.
Ed called it that he heard others say it was the laughingstock, and it hurt him. That's what he said when he returned as the general manager of this team, that he didn't like hearing that, but people called this a laughingstock. And he's like, I can't argue them.
Fair, yeah.
A lot of ways it became that.
Yeah. So he had to go fix that. By the way, the official drink of the EST Hangout, it is Dylan's Small Batch Distilleries. Get their pre-canned gin or vodka drinks, as well as they have a bunch of other little canned cocktail brands, including the cold brew espresso martini or the sour cherry Negroni spirits, crafted with their handmade spirits. Proudly crafted in Canada at your local liquor store. Find Dylan's Small Batch Distilleries. Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanyk, Lucas Holt from Whale and the Wolf and McCourt with you here talking CFL free agency. I'm just a big fan of I'm a fan of where the Elks were going into free agency. I didn't think they would sign as much. So that I'll be like, we'll see how this plays out. But I'm still, I like from an Elks perspective too, that like I didn't see the Riders just really improve completely. Now, I'm not going to discount the Riders. I didn't see the BC Lions completely improve. Calgary. So there's a shot there for Edmonton to maybe try to creep closer to those teams if they did the right things this free agency.
So with what we know now, which is 90% of it's already sorted out, what do you guys think? Who's the top dog in the West going in? Who's the ball? Like, where does Edmonton stack up in the West, in your guys' opinion?
After today, looking at for me at least, looking at rosters, I would say Edmonton is up there, maybe number 2.
You'd have them
with
too.
Winnipeg.
Wow. Saskatchewan's still number 1, right?
To me, if you're the champ,
they're the champs
you
until
deserve
they're not.
number 1.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they
You
brought
get
back a
number 1.
lot of guys. Like if you are looking at the roster,
Adria late signing before for the
so your
negotiation
running back
window,
and your starting quarterback are both back.
Yeah.
Everyone on your quarterback's here. He's not young.
He's not young, and that's where I do fear because you did lose your backup quarterback as well. So who you're going to be bringing in for 7? But if he's not young, but everybody except right now, Tate, their whole offensive line is back again.
Keyshawn Johnson's back.
Yeah.
Samuel Emlis is back.
You have depth in the Canadian receiver position, and those are all guys that you have brought up, either drafted or found down in the States. And you also have guys waiting in the wings in that. Defensive line is still a bit of a question, but your whole secondary is back. Milligan,
Campbell's a great player.
All three of their safeties, even Fields, who I didn't think they would bring back, but he's back too. You're gonna have to get a new kicker. So
Linebackers? I don't know if you said.
linebackers, Thurman re-signed. Revis is gone, but
Because he went to Ottawa.
Yeah, they do have Brooks Jr., who did show really well last year, and who would be on the other side there. I can't remember, but
You know your stuff, man.
well, they have
CFL
a
fantasy.
They have a good group of guys, and they will find more too. And they've been doing very well with scouting and bringing people up into the league too. So I'm not worried on that side of things. When people get a little too expensive, like a CJ Revis or any of these other AJ Allen, losing him was tough, but. You can refine these guys, and they have been showing it. And even last year through injury, they when Revis had to move back to safety, they brought in Brooks Jr. They had Aubrey Miller. Like they have depth at those positions. Defensive line right now, though, is to me the biggest question. Losing Johnson to being retirement and coach, Carney to Edmonton, Baldonado going to Ottawa. You did sign Vaughters from Winnipeg yesterday. Or at least to terms or whatever, and Mike Rose, Sanders. You still have that open spot on the other defensive end position, and those would just be starters. You still want that rotational side of things. But going back to the original question, still the champs until they're not. I'll put them as number one. But yeah, I think Edmonton, barring injury, with everything we talked about, a stable quarterback, 2 good running backs, receivers. You have a number one and maybe a few number threes, but that wouldn't be my biggest area of concern for you guys. Good offensive line with a lot of nationals, and your defense, secondary, and linebackers, pretty studly. See what happens now on the defensive line. Why can't they be a number 2, right? BC, obviously you got Nathan Rourke.
When you have Nathan Rourke and you have
Hatcher and
McInnes and I'm missing someone else from the receiving core.
Cote.
And then you've got James Butler as your running back. You're in a good spot right there.
And they just signed another running back too from New Orleans, who was supposed to be McCourt. He was raving about him. But you still have what's his face, Benavides defense.
Yeah, I'm not a
Defense is the problem with BC still.
right? So,
but they've stepped up at times last year.
Yeah.
But it's like, but if you're sitting there saying like, well, you got to score 40 because your defense is going to give up 35.
But they have the quarterback
They're
to
a
do
team
it.
that's an offense. You said they can go do that.
And now with Calgary too. Last year we all sold Calgary out and said that they were nothing. I can't really say it again this year. Just because you're not doing anything, you're not showing anything, they can show that they can come back. But they don't have Huff anymore either.
I think that's an interesting loss. But it's one like, so are they that? But who are the Stamps then? Are they more that first half team or are they more the second half team? Second half team, they were not good.
No.
So who are they? And that's where I question. And Winnipeg for me, I think they're done. And I don't care that they made these moves. They brought in some names.
Yeah. Until they're another one. Until they are done, I'm not saying they're done.
To me, they were done last year.
Who's their backup? Who'd they bring in?
Backup to Kolaros?
Yeah.
Did they bring someone in?
Was it Dolagala?
They re-signed Jake Dolagala. They did. You're right. Yeah.
Was it Evans though? Did
Dane Evans?
Not Dane Evans, crybaby.
Dane Evans is retired.
That's
Evans
right.
from Montreal. Where did he go?
Caleb Evans?
Caleb Evans.
Let me take a look, see if CFL has anything.
So where do you got Edmonton then, Tommy?
I could see them in the 2-hole. I think Winnipeg, I do believe what Matty said, where Winnipeg is now going to have to go through the restructuring and come out of a great phase. BC and its defense is a question mark. And then Calgary, even with VA, like, can he stay healthy?
That's a big one.
Is he VA that was making questionable decisions in the second half of the season? Or was he the VA that was humming along in the first half? It was Jekyll and Hyde at times. And then, like I said, they made it close in the West semifinal, but Yeah,
If their
I think
defense
the
shows
West
up-
is wide open outside of the Riders, de facto number one.
If that defense shows up like it did to the first half of the season, that was what the hardest defense to go against. Like they weren't giving up anything, and that's the health of the D line was the big part of that one because we saw then the injuries came and then it was nothing.
And they might lose Jalen Hutchings to the NFL
think he's
too. I think he has
gone
some
already.
tryouts. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
and he was like a great find for them.
But right now, if I had to put, and then there'll be a little bit of a homerish take to this, but I think I would go Saskatchewan, BC, Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg last day.
Yeah. But we've seen the downward trend.
You know, I think
And Calgary crossover. I still think we'll see 4 West.
Yeah.
I think the West Division is very much like the Pacific Division in the NHL. Is there's going to be a ton of parity, and any team almost, except for I don't really love Winnipeg either, but I think that any of the teams could win the division, and any of the
So
teams.
if I said Calgary,
it's a pick 'em every game.
BC,
It's gonna
Edmonton,
be-
Saskatchewan, it wouldn't be completely stunning to you
I can see
if everything's
the
close.
division, everyone being 8, 9, 10 wins.
Yeah.
Do
in
you think the
division.
best team is in the West? Or do we have a Montreal or somebody Ottawa sneaking
It's
into
not a
the-
sneaking in it to me. Montreal would be, if Montreal's there, it's not a sneaking in. It's because Montreal's good.
And what has to happen for Montreal to stay at the top of the standings?
Davis Alexander has to be healthy.
Healthy, yeah.
And
Well, that's
that
every
defense
team,
is
though.
really
Yeah.
strong.
It is.
As long as that defense is still there, Montreal, and like Toronto, I never know what to make of Toronto. And now you got Huff and Barker running things to a degree. Like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
Everything,
the
the
coach.
bottom fell out in Toronto.
Kelly.
With Dinwiddie walking away like
Yeah.
that.
But you still have Chad Kelly, and if he's
Is
healthy,
he, but is he?
well, that's
Do
the
we
thing.
know?
If we don't know if he is the Chad Kelly
We
that
were
we
questioning
saw
whether
before.
whether he'd be starting the season, and then it's a couple games here now. It's the
He
sixth
had
game,
the
and now
comeback
it's
though. Do you remember
the video.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had
Put
the
out a
comeback,
video.
and he didn't even come back.
So what is going on there?
But if Chad Kelly is healthy and he is close to what he once was, like he could carry a team rather far. Ottawa, I think, is a year away. I think this is a good growth year.
yeah,
New coaching staff
Yeah,
there too. It's gonna
Hamilton
take
took a
some
lot of
time.
beating in free agency.
They did.
lost their running back, lost 3 offensive linemen. Did sign McManus though on that, and then they lost
side.
White. And they,
Tim White,
Yeah.
Shamir Bridges is a free agent still at
free
this very
agent, yeah.
moment. They do bring Trey Ford in as a backup QB. We'll see. Bo was great the last 2 years.
Yep.
Can Bo still be Bo though? Like at what point is age going to
Bo
catch up
and-
to him?
Bo and Trey have 2 completely different play styles. So are you going to be? And didn't Ottawa also lose their OC too? Didn't he go to Winnipeg?
Yes. Tommy
you got
Condell, didn't he?
Yeah, so you got
Was
a
this
new
Condell?
Yeah, so you got a new OC in Hamilton, and you got 2 quarterbacks.
Wait, in Hamilton or he was in Ottawa?
So then he went.
Who's
he
calling
went to
the plays?
Montreal.
It wasn't Milanovic. Is Milanovic calling the plays?
I don't know, but whoever Condell went to
Winnipeg.
That's another reason why they might not. They'll start calling right plays, and Brady will get more touches.
They
Winnipeg.
think
So
things
that's
will
why
be better there
Yeah.
in Winnipeg because it's not. I forgot his name. Who was calling it? But they weren't a
But
fan.
he went back to quarterback. or
He
running back
dropped
coach or
down a
something.
spot.
But yeah, Hamilton will be interesting to see. They never, even losing Greg Bell, though, they're never much of a big running team.
No.
They never really have a running back until they do.
I'll say this with Winnipeg though. Mike O'Shea was close to leaving. It looked like.
Yeah.
Is he he signed an extension? I don't think it was a long-term extension or anything like that.
But how do we know that? Just because he was coming back from Toronto?
Do you think he did that as a courtesy to
He could have
Pinball,
went to
though?
a Blue Jays.
It might have been. It might have been just straight up best friends with Pinball.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the other reports have been a lot with O'Shea is that he'd love to go work with Pinball and Toronto, and that is the franchise that
Yeah.
he really became a name from.
But maybe he got to see behind the curtain. He goes,
I
"Oh
think he
boy,
did, and,
no thanks."
and turned around and said, "I
Yeah.
think I'm good where I am."
Yeah.
But
no
it's
wonder
also not
Dinwiddie walked
long-term.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, East. If you had to rank the East, then
Well, Montreal, I think, head and shoulders above everybody.
Montreal, Hamilton, Ottawa, Toronto this year.
see, and I still would go Toronto over Ottawa, just because I don't trust Drew Brown and Jake Mayer as my back quarterback situation. Drew Brown's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt twice this season. He's going to get hurt. He's going to come back. 'Cause it's only going to be like 2 weeks. And he's going to get hurt again. It's going to be 4 weeks. And he's going to come back or something. That's what Drew Brown does.
Jake Mayer reunited with Dinwiddie though.
Jake
Were they
Maier-
together?
Well, I'm trying to remember.
He hasn't
think
shown
Maier's
anything
not
to
that
I don't
good,
think
though.
he was. I think Dinwiddie was already gone.
Was he gone by then?
When Mayer was in Calgary and looked like,
He might
we
have-
could move on from Bo.
He might have been the backup there. But again, Mayer, he always looked good when he was the backup.
Yeah.
When he got his opportunity to play.
When there was someone behind him
Yeah.
that kind of pushed him, he looked unbelievable. And then the moment Bo left, it all fell
I'm
out.
fine with it with a Jake Mayer as your backup. If,
I love it.
if you need somebody to step in on a couple of days with injury and stuff like that, but like I'm not anointing him like, all right, now we got ourselves a quarterback. Yeah, no, thanks. And I think that was Calgary's downfall too, in thinking that this was your next guy. Prove me wrong.
Well, he did look good. Like
When
when
you
Bo
step-
started
when
off
you were
hurt
stepping
or
in for
whatever,
Bo.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he looked really good. And you're like, oh, and then he replaced Bo. But then I think the one crack that maybe they should have looked more on is in the playoff game, he didn't look good. And Bo had to come in to try to save the season, and he couldn't.
Yeah.
And then they moved on from Bo.
I'll correct myself. Jake Mayer and Ryan Dinwiddie, no crossover.
No crossover.
In Calgary. One right after the other.
Well, at least
Montreal.
Calgary.
I think
blood
we're all
together.
in agreement that Montreal is the top of the East. And
They
that's the
have
measuring stick.
Davis Alexander,
Yeah.
who is undefeated regular season still. You'll hear that, I'll guarantee.
Yeah, in the playoffs.
They still have Tyson Philpott.
They got a running back now in Stevie Scott.
Yeah. And the defense usually in Montreal with Noel Thorpe is usually a solid one. It's kind of like a nice path for them to be like, okay, we're good. And it's who comes in. That's why I also think with how tight the West is, whoever's fourth, you're snagging that crossover.
Yes,
spot.
100%.
And then next year, I think that changes. I think things are equal because Ottawa finally takes a step up and either Hamilton bounces back if they have a down year or they're just still good. And then you'd have Montreal. And I think the West probably doesn't.
And Bo would be under contract for the following year too.
I think he
right?
got a 2-year deal.
He did a 2-year deal. Yeah.
I think you got a 2-year deal. But again, at that age, you just never know. There's always those rumblings with him, with Harris, with Kolaros about when is it the end? When are they going to finally say, we're good?
And he's been healthy though. Bo has been relatively healthy.
Yes. Well, it's funny because the backup quarterback now of the Edmonton Elks was Bo got benched against the Hamilton Tiger Cats 2 years ago. Taylor Powell was anointed as the new starting quarterback of the Ticats. They took on the Edmonton Elks. The Elks knocked him out in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the ambulance game, but he got knocked out. Bo came in and Bo hasn't lost that job since.
Well,
How things happen there.
light a little fire under somebody, right? And he'll show you.
If it wasn't for the Elks knocking out Taylor Powell in that game, they might not have a new backup quarterback today named Taylor Powell. And Bo might be out of this league.
Yeah, you might be up in the booth.
And
Dusty.
when you're talking about all these older quarterbacks, I mean, you got to have Cody Fajardo on that list too, because he almost walked away at the end of this past season.
And he signed a
close,
1-year deal.
1-year deal.
He didn't sign a 2-year deal. He signed a 1-year
close
deal.
to.
So Powell just isn't a
return.
backup. This is a succession plan, right? Like of
I think it's initially the hope,
yeah.
but it's when is that succession plan begin? Is it this year? Or is it next year? Or like next year? Or is it the year after? Because Cody was on with the Reed and Jay, and he basically said that if he doesn't want unfinished business, so if this is an organization that takes a good step this year and let's say falls in the West Final, hypothetically, they go to Saskatchewan, get knocked off, maybe he sits there and goes, no, I want one more crack at this.
Yeah.
I like Cody. I'll be honest with you.
He's a good dude.
He's great.
He knows
Great
he's
guy.
QB1. Is he the best QB1? No.
No. Well, that's
He's one though.
When we were talking about the Elks roster, up and down the roster, we didn't even talk about quarterbacks. So, I mean, to me, if there's a weakness on the team, I mean, where do you rank Cody Fajardo as in terms of best quarterbacks in
Middle
the league?
of the pack at best.
Yeah, okay, let's rank 9 quarterbacks.
I got to go lower.
But
he might be 9.
But he can get the job done.
I
think-
would take him over VA right now. I would take him over anything in Ottawa right now.
I think Cody, though, for somebody who we did have him for a good while, like I think Cody now understands what he is, and he's not going to try and do more than he can.
Would you call him a game manager?
Yeah, and it's not fun. But Trevor
He's not
Harris
throwing
is
the ball down the field.
No,
That's not,
but
he can't
Trevor
do it.
Harris isn't that guy either, right? Like he's not. You're not going to maybe get on highlight of the night, but you'll complete 70% of your passes for 8 yards and here and there, and you'll win the game. And it's not the most exciting thing because it's not Hail Marys down the field. But what Cody has that Harris doesn't is he still has his legs. And as long as he can, his downfall in Saskatchewan was the year where he hurt his knee and he decided that he still wanted to play, and they didn't change a game plan for him, and it still required him to run, and he get knocked out all over the place, and then nobody wanted him anymore, and he was shipped out to Montreal. If he can stay the way that, like, don't have to push the field too far, you can open it up when you can, but, you know, small passes for yards to keep the defense on the field, use your legs when you can.
Mm-hmm.
If you're smart about that, I think you can't, like, you're not going to win any MVP awards. Like, you're not a Bo Levi Mitchell for sure. But if you can just play to your abilities, and now that you have guys that can catch the ball for you, like, yeah, I wouldn't put him as number 9. He's not number 1, but I think he falls somewhere right in the middle.
I would say Nathan Rourke's the best QB. Davis Alexander's 2.
Yep.
I would probably then go Bo.
Where's Harris? Because
And I'm now it's in because now there's the question marks with Chad Kelly. What he is. If Chad Kelly's healthy, I might put him ahead of Bo Levi even. But I'd probably go Chad Kelly, Trevor Harris. That's my top 5, and then it's VA, Cody, Zach Collaros, and Drew Brown. Drew Brown is to me number 9 because partly just injuries, and we're talking for the show, like he's had that 400-yard game, but he also had a 400-yard game where multiple interceptions and stuff. I think it's a tight between those 3. Collaros right now, Cody, VA, and Collaros. It's tight, but I'd be comfortable with Cody a little over. I think you get a little more consistency from Cody game to game than VA, where VA I think has a little bit more of a higher upside. But I also think he has a little bit lower of a downside to him.
When VA is bad,
it could be bad.
It's bad.
It's saying something though about where you are with quarterbacks when like VA and Collaros are at your bottom of the list.
Yeah,
it's
very aging though too.
I think we're in a good spot right now with quarterbacks.
But it's a decent, like you're doing all right. Yeah, you got to have the next group of guys coming up, and they will. They'll find those people. Trevor Harris was a nobody, and neither was Collaros, and you know all these guys will eventually come, and there will be a new one.
But Rourke's young. Alexander's young.
Yeah.
Chad Kelly's still got some years on him if he's back.
Is there tread on the tires for Ford? Like, do you see him actually as a starting quarterback still in this league?
I think with the right OC to learn from, I think yes. I still think that the Elks didn't have the right offensive game plan for what he is as a quarterback. If this is now going to be the true test, because you're learning from a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You also get a great offensive coordinator and an offensive minded Scott Milanovic. And if Milanovic can't do anything with you, then you're not a quarterback.
Would he be out of this league right now if he didn't have that Canadian passport?
Yeah, could be.
I don't know.
Hard to say. I mean, he's uber talented.
Yeah.
I think he'd still be in this league because the passport doesn't help you. There's no ratio benefit from this.
But there is a political, not a political. There's
cachet to it.
Yeah. But we've seen a lot of other quarterbacks in this league that stick around.
Brandon
like,
Bridge.
That have gone around. You're like, why are you still in this league that are Americans?
Yeah, I guess.
I think when you look at the upside, like again, so straightforward what we've seen, there is an upside that is pretty cool and pretty good.
Sure.
There's a very low bottom though. I think that upside is we'll give this shot as a backup quarterback.
So Maddie and I, as all the listeners and viewers know, we're big Trey Ford guys. But I was texting with a friend yesterday, and not that exactly the way it all comes out on social media is the way it happens in reality, but quarterback after quarterback after quarterback were being signed and no Trey. And I was texting with buddy like, is there something that I'm missing here? Because I've had the opportunity to hang around Trey a good number of times, and he's quiet and he's shy, and you hear stuff about some of the locker room stuff and whatnot. And I just wonder if I view him as quiet and shy, but that can cross into you're just an arrogant whatever, right? And it's typically one or the other, but it can come across either way. And so when he was not getting signed, I'm just texting my buddy saying like, is there something about him in the locker room that's kind of out there that people just don't want him? And there was rumblings of that here in Edmonton, and now how many regimes here? At least 2, passed him by.
2.5 if you count G-Roy and.
I think this one they were stuck between a rock and a hard place with him getting that bonus, right? Like they could have restructured him,
If he wanted to.
but whether
right?
he
That's-
wanted to or
that's-
not, right? I don't know. Now that's also, was there talk of restructuring? And he said no, because there has been those talks before about, he didn't want to be the gimmick quarterback.
Right.
Like, is there, like
He didn't want to be Kyle Loxley, which
Right.
is what we saw,
but
which
is
is a
there this
complete
arrogance
gimmick.
to him that comes off?
I
Like,
think that
don't-
only comes across, that only happened
To-
because Chris Jones went on radio and said something
said
one
that.
time.
Okay.
And everyone was like, well, where's this coming from? But I think Chris Jones was attempting to save face at that point.
But then that goes to Murray's question of why are all these guys getting signed and we still don't see any place home for Trey Ford? Was he
It
wanting?
happened.
But he signed.
He did,
And
he
there was
did.
only 2 quarterbacks that signed prior to him.
And one
just
went
two?
to,
At the time, it
and
was-
one was to Edmonton.
yeah,
right?
and
Or-
Dustin
okay.
Crum and Taylor Powell signed. So you didn't have one of the spots. And BC was talking. Like BC missed out on a few people. One of them, they missed. They wanted Crum and they wanted Trey. They wanted one of those two, and they didn't get either of those two.
Yeah.
So like I think when you look at Buck Pierce was interested in him, and Scott Mlanovich was interested in him.
Two offensive
Two pretty
minded,
good
yeah.
offensive minds. Now they weren't interested in him as a starter, obviously, and look, they have starters anyways. But I think the one thing I would say is it's interesting that Ottawa wasn't interested because
They
if
might
there
have
was
been. I mean, you
but
don't
they
know.
went and they got Jake Mayer. Like
Sure.
But did they get Mayer after Ford?
Yes, but I'll say this:
was it after?
clearly they weren't fully interested in Trey because if I'm Trey, why would I not go to Ottawa, where there's a path to being a starter much sooner than the other 2 spots?
Maybe though. Yeah. Well, I was going to say maybe it's the coaching, but you do.
But you have Ryan Dinwiddie. You have a
Dinwiddie
solid.
there,
You
yeah.
have a solid guy coaching you there too. So I by all the realms, we didn't hear a lot from Ottawa interested in him. We had 2 other guys that were interested.
Yeah,
so
Mayer signed before.
I think in the end, ultimately, we will just see who is something there. Like, and how are they going to utilize him? And
So
I
for-
hope he develops.
I do too. I mean,
I just want young quarterbacks. I
thought
want
he was
Taylor
great.
Elgazma here. I want Curtis Rourke here one day.
Yeah.
I just want a good stable of young quarterbacks in this league that are great.
Yeah.
With
Canadian
Davis
or
Alexander.
American
I
doesn't
don't
matter.
care.
Global too. Bring them all.
Okay, so we have Taylor Powell now and not Trey Ford. Did we upgrade? Did we go sideways? Did we downgrade? Like,
Well,
I don't think we really know because Powell was that rookie year. He was going to be the next one, but
Yeah.
he hardly got on the field last year and it wasn't great. So
I think the problem with backups is you truly actually will never know because
Until they
there's
get the
one
chance,
starter
yeah.
job.
Hopefully, you never have to find out.
Well, you
need
do
to
at
know
some
the
point.
future. You need to
Right?
know the future.
But
For sure
even
in
when
the
you
future.
do that, you never know unless
But
you're signing a vet.
You could always be in this, and that's
Yeah.
the thing with the CFL. You can always be in this. You can never develop a quarterback.
That's true.
And always just be in this free agency where you grab another guy from somebody else's team. Let somebody else develop him. What I mean by hopefully you never have to find out is that if you're finding out mid-season, that means something
Yeah.
happened. Either he's not playing well or he got hurt, right? So hopefully you don't have to find out on that side, but you should know what you're doing.
You need 2 quarterbacks in the CFL because how many teams?
2, maybe 3 if you
How
got a
many
short
teams
yardage.
did not have at least 2 quarterbacks playing a decent amount last year?
Every
because of
team
injuries?
had their backup play last year.
And the Elks are the only team that wasn't because of injury.
Right.
The Elks are the only team that didn't have an injury that came to their quarterback, I believe. I think Bo went. No, Bo was healthy too. I think Bo was healthy last year.
Did he play every?
I think he might have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
He might have maybe not. Yeah.
He
But
hardly
Ottawa had
played.
injuries. Davis Alexander was injured. Chad Kelly didn't play last year, so it was the backup the whole season.
Yeah.
And then Nick Arbuckle got hurt later on.
And-
Colaros
and-
got hurt.
yeah.
VA got hurt. Harris got hurt. Nathan Rourke got hurt.
Yeah.
A lot got hurt. It was Edmonton with the 2 quarterbacks that they had. That it was a performance thing for them. They made the change, but there was no injury. And I don't think Bo got hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't. And he never got pulled either, I don't think.
No, I don't think. Maybe there was a garbage time late, but no, not for a single game.
But you're right. You do need to because there is going to be at some point in the year where a backup's going to have to come in, right? Like, so yeah, you do need to have somebody. And I think you guys did improve, just mainly that like I think Powell's style is a little more similar to Fajardo's in that sense, where the game plan doesn't have to change as much as it might have with Trey Ford or for him to be successful.
It's also better than a complete unknown. Like
Well,
if they
what
didn't
about
sign
Snyder?
Powell, it would have been. And I don't think that they clearly weren't.
Cole
aren't, no.
Snyder, yeah.
They're clearly not high on him because they didn't play him in that last game of the season. Like that last game against Calgary, the depth chart changed. It was Cody, Cole, Trey.
Yeah.
And I remember the TSN panel at halftime was like, wow, why aren't we seeing Trey? And I remember Jay and I were like, no, it's not about Trey. Like, this is about, like, when are we going to see Cole Snyder? Because there's a reason you put him as second on the depth chart.
Yeah.
Are you trying to see what you have from him? And it was very disappointing that they never played him. But I think some people said this is a sign of how they view Trey, which isn't wrong, but it's also, I think, how that game played out was a sign of what the Elks feel of Cole Snyder, that they either feel that they know what they've seen out of him and they don't want to see him anymore. In terms
and he's
of
not under contract, right? Is he a free agent?
Cole? No, Cole's back.
Is he? Yeah. So will he be the number?
He'd be the
short yardage way? Yeah.
He Cole actually texted me this morning. He's really good buddies with Powell. And so Powell, he was telling me, is a big golfer. So he's like, I got to connect you with him when he gets here. He's a great guy. He loves playing golf and blah. So, Snyder's absolutely planning on being back. And the last text I sent back to him was like, were you hoping that you were going to get elevated into the number 2 spot? Yeah, I haven't heard back from him quite yet, but after I sent that, he seems pumped that Powell's going to be here. So,
and Murray, he could be elevated into the number 2 spot a year or two from now.
Sure. Yeah.
But also, like, that number 3 now, like that number 3 spot as a quarterback, as that short yardage quarterback, that's like, you could be playing more than the number 2 anyway, right? Like it's an important
field.
It's an important
It decided
role.
the Grey Cup this year.
Yeah, it decided a lot of games
the
for the Riders, man.
Got in on short yardage or got their plays from short yardage.
Yeah,
and the Owls fumbled on a short yardage play with their short
so you
yardage
need
guy.
to have a good short yardage quarterback, and whether you like I know there's people talking about getting rid of that, and you should be developing quarterbacks, and it's like, well. And somebody Jeremy O'Day made a good point about it too. Up until just a couple of years ago, you're only allowed to have 2 quarterbacks on your roster. So what are we talking about developing that 3rd spot, having to be a spot where you develop quarterbacks? Like I think having, a starter and a backup and a short yardage is kind of the way that this is going. And, if you can excel at being a short yardage quarterback, you can have a long life in this league too. Now, if it stays that way.
We don't get paid a lot though to be that guy.
But if your team values you that much, you might get a little more than just 3rd on the depth chart.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it keeps you in the league, keeps you playing the game, and if you're good enough, like there's those times too where you can. I remember Tommy Stevens a few years ago where when he was still playing for Calgary, and I think he was playing against the Riders, he was lining up for that short yardage, and he fooled everybody, threw the ball, and they got a touchdown, right? So if you still have that skill set, it's more than just a fullback position.
I want to get to over-under for Play Alberta. Download the app, visit playalberta.ca. Not going to do actual over-under today. I just quickly want to run through the futures for the CFL. Montreal plus 260, Saskatchewan plus 400, so they're the 2 best favorites. BC plus 500, Toronto plus 550. They're the 4th best odds to win the Grey Cup. I guess part of that is if you think Chad Kelly's back healthy, the path through the East is just a lot easier.
Yeah.
Calgary plus 755, Winnipeg plus 950, Hamilton plus 1100, Ottawa plus 1200, Edmonton plus 1500.
And
so they're the worst.
Take a couple of bucks on Edmonton now. Like if they're that, like
and
Calgary's ahead of them.
To just reach the Grey Cup game, obviously Montreal, Saskatchewan best favorites plus 125, plus 185, BC plus 210. Toronto plus 225, Calgary plus 325, Winnipeg plus 425, Hamilton plus 500, Ottawa plus 550. Edmonton, just to get to a Grey Cup, is plus 700. So
we're all
not bad.
Thinking that they're improved, they're a pretty solid team, have lots of depth, but the odds makers say they're the worst team in the league.
That was those lines haven't changed since this negotiation window opened. I will say that. I don't know if they will change after that, but
I don't think they're the worst. That's.
Last year, there's a lot of bright, like when I looked at the Elks season, if we look back, I could probably point down to if 6 plays or 5 plays just went a little differently. The Keon Julian Grant catch, the last second field goals against Toronto and Ottawa, where it's like a couple plays, like a play or 2 prior. Like
Jared Dagey going on that late game.
Yeah, if you make a couple, like all of a sudden they're a playoff team. By because they win 3 more games, they're sitting comfortably in a playoff spot.
Yeah,
like
almost beat Winnipeg
close.
at home too, right? Was that one of the field goal games?
Well, that one they were leading until the
season.
3rd quarter, and then Winnipeg had a huge 3rd and 4th.
Should have beat your Riders in the first game of the year.
And then beat us later on in the season too.
That was a good game.
Where again could have came back and whatever. That was frustrating to watch, but no, they're not. That's like I know close doesn't get you the wins, but man, like they are close. Like a couple breaks here, a couple breaks there, and that's the same thing with the Riders, right? Like we lost against Toronto if it wasn't for Alfred's last second kick return touchdown. You know what I mean? There was a lot of games where we were close and we just came out on the other side of it, as where Edmonton didn't. Like they aren't as bad as the record shows.
The similarities to Saskatchewan, not saying Grey Cup this year for Edmonton, but like 2 years ago, Corey Mace's first year. Started off strong though, but then had that losing streak.
Yes.
Where like they were just so close on some of those and it was constantly blowing it and then found a way and then had a nice little run. Learn from that for the next year. I think for a young coaching staff, there's a lot of lessons that the Elks will have learned from last year. Hopefully that they'll have grown on and they'll be ready to go for this year. So, I wouldn't put them completely last.
No, that's what I'm saying. Take a couple bucks on that betting there. If those odds are the way that they are, throw it down because you might be making some money.
$10 would win you 150.
Yeah.
That's how that works out, the plus 15, if they were to win a Grey Cup. Use your game sense.
It is interesting to see that Calgary is ahead of Winnipeg there, too. I don't know if we all are in agreement on that. I still think Winnipeg is a little better than Calgary where they're sitting now. And until they aren't, I'm not going to say anything different, but yeah.
But Winnipeg was crossover. Were they not? Yeah.
Yes.
They got the, see, then that's to me why, like, it finally happened. They're not who we thought they were anymore.
But now they got away from what made them good, and that was running the ball with Brady.
But can Kolaros do it when you're stopping Brady?
And can Kolaros stay healthy?
Yeah.
Do they have the offensive line to keep Kolaros up? Because he took a few last year, and that head ain't that as strong anymore.
And I'd have to go look at Dembski's season.
Dembski was hurt. Dembski was hurt a lot
but that's where I'm going. Like, is Dembski going to be able to? Like, he's older too. Is he going to be able to stay fully healthy and productive all season? Like, you've got Ontario Wilson, who's really good, and you bring in Tim White,
and you got Neil now too.
Yeah.
And then you got Dembski. And is Wheatfall, did he sign? Or is
he's free agent still.
Yeah, okay.
And they're not signing Dalton Schoen.
Doesn't look like it. And he hasn't been picked up anywhere. Everyone's looking at his injury history. But would you take Dalton Schoen? Would you sign Dalton Schoen here? Another receiver?
If I could pay him for number 3 money, I would. I'd take a flyer on him. Because if Dalton Schoen could get past these injuries and be somewhat what he once was, he's a top receiver in this game.
Is he supposed to be, I don't think he's supposed to be healthy for the start of the year, though, is he?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so
necessarily.
That's why. Wait, why bother right now? Wait and see if you need a receiver when he's healthy. Yeah.
It's just.
I just wonder if we're missing something. Like, are we being homers that we think that Edmonton is?
I'm not a homer.
I know.
He doesn't like his organization.
I know. Yeah.
I honestly like it's by everything we've talked about and looking. But I think the thing that still kind of worries me about Edmonton is that we've had this conversation year after year after year after free agency, and like, wow, like I was talking to my dad. My dad last year was like, what they did, where did they get all this money? I would take Edmonton's roster over ours right now for sure. We have to trade them. So you do see this a lot with the Elks, where they win a lot when it comes to free agency, and on paper everything looks really good. And then when you get onto the field, things change. So I think there is maybe that's where the odd makers are looking at it, and maybe let's pump the brakes on them a bit. But this year, something about it feels different, and maybe it's the continuity in the head office and in the coaching staff and all that kind of stuff. You don't have the questions on do you have the quarterback? Because you don't have a Cornelius anymore. You don't have a Trey Ford, who is.
This is the first time in a long time that the starting quarterback at the end of the season is the starting quarterback at the start of the next season.
And it's not. We hope he does good, right? Cornelius was he's got the stature, he's got the arm. This guy should be good, but wasn't. Trey Ford, he's got the ability to do all this stuff. He should be good, but he wasn't. You now have a guy who has been proven and is a Grey Cup winner, that he can be good, and he's starting the year again. So this is why it feels different with Edmonton this year. I hope not. I hope they're at the bottom of the barrel for my own sake, but I also do wish that they do good because I want to see that stadium full.
I will say, I also think that the schedule makers were favorable to them for the first time in a while. They gave them Ottawa. And that's the first game. They're in Ottawa. And Look, they've done well. They're under they have a lot of changes, so it's gonna like that first game is a prime example that even if Ottawa, let's say they won for agency, it works.
Yeah,
it's gonna take them a couple of weeks to fully get going. This is a chance the team to take advantage of. And when was the last time the Elks started a season off 1-0? Right,
and
2019.
I think so.
Yeah,
and it's one of those when they've lost those early games, like they lost the Riders on not punching it into the end zone. Yeah. Or there's been massive blowouts out in BC with Nick Arbuckle or Trey Ford or whatever it might have been. And those have snowballed. Like, here we go. And like, if they lose to Ottawa this year, there's going to be
what is their first few games? What does it look like here? You said they could be 4-1, right?
Yeah, I think they'll be 4-1.
Ooh, I like it.
I think. I've never been that way. Like, so hey, last year
home and home against the Riders.
Last year
has us winning.
Last year I called 0-4 to start the season. I wasn't right about the rest of that season when I tried projecting, but I did have like. This is the first time in a long time I've been actually like positive for the Elks start season. So they're in Ottawa. That's a win to me. They get a bye week 2. Week 3 they're home to Montreal. I think they snag a home victory building off of a 1-0.
Okay.
They're then in Winnipeg. They go beat Winnipeg.
I can see that.
Yeah.
They're then in BC. They're going to lose to BC. That one's played in Kelowna too.
Oh, right.
But I think they're losing to BC.
World Cup.
Then they're home to Ottawa for week 6.
Win.
So that's where so like worst.
So BC's
I could
your
say
loss?
3-2. Yeah,
I think they beat BC
Montreal
but lose to Montreal.
Okay,
BC has been.
they have their numbers.
Yeah,
they have
just
Edmonton.
I
murdered
know,
them
but
lately.
BC can be hot and cold though too. That's where I find like they can.
Well, then they get BC after Ottawa again, and then they get
boy.
Saskatchewan back to back. So it's and then Montreal. So like things could really quickly.
Who
knows there?
4-5 in a big hurry.
But but even a 3-2.
Do they not play Calgary until Labor Day?
Yeah.
Wow. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Is this year? That's the only 2 times they'll play Calgary this year.
The back-to-back.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That was fun last year.
So yeah, the back end of the season, they get Hamilton twice. They get Toronto twice after all of that. They'll get Winnipeg 2 more times after that, and Saskatchewan and stuff.
So Winnipeg is their team they play 3 times?
Yeah. So if they can, they need to take advantage of their Winnipegs. They need to take advantage of Hamilton and Ottawas and Torontos.
Yeah.
But like if you could start 3-2, it's just been a long time since this organization is, as we've gone into July, has a winning record.
But even getting like if you could start 3-3, like you said, like I think that after 6
win,
games,
yeah.
I think that's not terrible.
We're not digging out of a massive
Exactly,
hole
yeah.
from that 0-4 and stuff like that.
But
It's
that's
just
where if you
been-
lose to Ottawa, it could be just the here we go again type thing.
Exactly.
And then if you lose to Montreal, you're 0-2, and oh my God, now we got to go to Winnipeg. And then that's what's happened the last few years, and things have spiraled.
Right, 100%
And this
agree.
organization has just that cloud going over them, and they need that season to get past that.
And it'd be nice to see them to beat Ottawa because it'd be in Ottawa to come back and have your home opener after a loss. Like again, people might just be like, I don't want to go anymore. Same old Elks, right? But if you can have that first game win in Ottawa, then come back and have your home opener.
And it's like a 2:30 on a Saturday, which is just like a nice, let's go 2:30.
What will be the excuse?
Last year we had
watch the
rain
road.
for like the first 7 home games.
That's another thing. They've gotten kind of hit
yeah.
with weather too. That's too bad. It'll be smoke or forest fire.
Ugh, I hope not.
I know.
Bite your tongue.
Portions of this hour of the Hangout, they are brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Stock, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out. TheHighProductMarketing.com. Also do the wonderful merch for Whale and the Wolf. Connect with Chelsea at the High for any of your promotional needs. I connected with her a number of weeks ago on mittens that were used at the EST Fund Spiel presented by Hammer Injury Law, which people really enjoyed. So let Chelsea know that people loved the mittens. They were solid. Also have a limited edition hat coming from Edmonton Sports Stock that Chelsea cooked up for us from the Hive. So
Is it the one that
stay
was?
tuned. Yeah.
That looks good.
It's a limited edition. I'm not doing another batch. Stay tuned. This is the only time this hat is going to be released. Once I get those, and that's it. There's just a handful of them. So you're going to want to stay tuned to that. But that's with the High Product Marketing. And speaking of Hammer Injury Law, shout out to them as they were the official title sponsor of the EST Fun Spiel this past weekend out at the Shamrock. They were out there. They took down Lieutenant Eric's team in their final round robin game and then got to the final of Pool D. They fell in the final of Pool D.
Hammer Law did? Is that
Hammer Injury Law, yes. So, but thank you to them for jumping on title sponsors. It was a great time this past weekend out at the Shamrock. Thank you to Gavin and his crew at the Shamrock for everything that they did. Thank you to Sub-Zero Mechanical for being our dinner sponsors. Shout out Oil Country Towing, Go Track Social Club, Kelly's Pub, Play Alberta.
Kelly's?
Yeah, Schmitty got us a couple of prizing from Kelly's. Farnese Insurance. I don't believe I'm missing anyone. Shout out to all of them for being various sponsors of the Funspiel as well. I think everyone had a great time.
Who won?
Liquid Beavers team was the Funspiel champions for Pool A. Pool B, we had Casters Castaways. Pool D was William Mike Spear. I think I'm getting that. His handle. I think that's what it was.
You missed C.
Well, Pool C, the winners were Team EST.
Oh.
Hey.
Dylan Koskinen skipping us. We had Cam with him, but then there's a couple of ESTers, and Trev and I played in the playoffs. I actually, for the first time in my life, played 2 back-to-back good curling games. I was making my shot. Even when I had a bad shot, it worked out. I didn't have a single bad shot, I would say, actually, in that. Trev was playing well. We were all just playing well, and we took down the champs from last year.
Nice.
They fell to Pool C. But we took them out, and then we beat Raider Jesse's team, and we're Pool C champions, Murray.
Oh, wow. Well, at post
Thank
game,
you.
I was listening to your post game, and Zach was bragging about being on the winning C division team. So
Yes.
that was Team EST.
And it sounded like the party was still going strong, so I let Zach enjoy.
So
Zach, myself, Trev, Jasmine, and Gager from EST all played at least a game on that one.
okay.
But Trev and I were the two that in the playoffs we stepped up with Cameron, with Dylan, and we took it. We dominated the 2 games. Like, it wasn't even. I don't even think we gave up a point.
Really?
I don't think so.
Wow.
a championship game.
Yeah.
We stole in the first game right off the bat.
That's big. That's huge.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey.
I also feel bad for Caitlin Laws yesterday.
So you played
shot.
in the curling, but you don't play in the golf.
There's a less stress running a curling event, I've learned. It was just one that I was like, everything is largely done, that everything was set up. Golf tournaments, it's a different level. It is a step up.
It's a big thing. Yeah.
That I can't jump in partway through a golf round.
No, you're right. Because
That's the one thing. Like here, like we had the 3 games before dinner, so I wasn't in.
Yeah.
I can't just be like, I'll jump in the 9th, start in the back 9 or
Yeah.
whatever. So I don't think I could ever play in the golf tournament unless we hire an event team to run my golf tournament.
Yeah, but you do so well. Obviously, every single event that you put on, the 4 majors, is a hit. So
Thank you.
you are a star at organizing events, sir.
People are already.
grow that head any.
Yeah.
Well-
already is there.
People are already asking about the golf tournament. I had a few people ask last week. And then Neil says, shout out to Maddie for putting the spiel together. Cheers from Neil.
No, it was a fun event. Really enjoy that one. And it's curling day in Canada.
Mac Mahon to Calgary
Oh,
from Toronto.
Interesting.
So they get Toronto or Calgary's getting all the scraps that didn't get. That's
I'm still waiting where Kobe Willings is going to go. I hope he still comes back to Edmonton. We won't hear from Ed or anyone or any of the organizations generally until next week,
right?
Because free agency again
actually
doesn't open
allow-
until Tuesday.
Yeah, when they can actually sign them.
They won't talk about anything specifically until.
Pen to paper.
Yeah, and then you probably want to get those announcements done. Actually, one thing I like about this for the CFL is one thing that has also helped the NFL become such a big league is they're a 365-day-a-year league now.
Yep.
They have turned into a thing that in the offseason, there's always a discussion around something. And so you have yesterday, today, where you could talk about, they should probably move it to Monday, I'd say. There's one thing.
What?
The Tampa, I think not having it on Sunday, have it on a Monday.
Move
where,
it last week.
yeah,
where it's
we're
not
talking
Super Bowl
about
week.
it. And well, there was talk at the Grey Cup about them moving it after Super Bowl.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that you skip all of that. But like all day throughout the day, we could talk about the movies as they happen. But you get these couple of days talking about it. Then you cool down for a little bit. And then next week, you'll talk about, hey, things are breaking. And, for us, we'll reach out trying to get a bunch of these guys that signed in Edmonton on the radio. And you've just extended the news cycle a little bit longer. CFL needs to find more of those things.
And I love obviously watching games Thursday to Sunday in the summer times. But like this time of year where it's like this kind of stuff, the free agency, when you're going into training camps, like I love this when you're seeing the teams come together and being built. And before you're, either disappointed or really too high, like you have a you have a hope on how your team's going to be, and you're starting to see things and putting it together, and you build it all in your head. Like it's an awesome time.
Every team could sit here as a fan base and say, I love our team right now. Like BC, you got Nathan Rourke, we know what it is. Yeah. Edmonton's feeling really good. Calgary can be like, yeah, well, we're just going to be more healthy, and look what we did second half of last year. VA's still around. It's a second year for VA, so he'll know the system better. Saskatchewan's defending champs. Winnipeg's going to go, look, we just fixed our team. Yeah. Hamilton, well, we got Bo Levi still. Scott Mlanovich will figure this out. Toronto's going to be, we got Chad Kelly coming back. Yeah. Ottawa, we built this team. We got Ryan Dinwiddie. And Montreal, we got Davis Alexander. Yeah, like Montreal, every team right now can sit there and be like, away from winning. I feel good about my team.
Sure.
I don't think there's any team that should be going in feeling like, yeah, it's not going to be
Ottawa, maybe though. I mean, it's new and different, but I think for the fan base, they can't expect to win.
No, but I think for the fan base, you got Justin Hardy.
You got AJ Allen.
You got CJ Gino Lewis. You bring in a running back in Greg Bell. Yep. Ryan Dinwiddie is
still
pretty
have Addison,
solid.
Right?
No, he's a free agent, wasn't he?
I don't.
Or did he sign?
I don't think he's a free agent.
I thought he was free agent.
Who ended up getting the Toronto head coaching job? Because Dinwiddie left there.
It was Mike Miller is his name?
And he
it was
to be
very underwhelming.
Yeah.
He used to be the Cardinals OC,
I think they're in trouble. I think
Arizona?
Toronto's not going to be
quarterbacks.
Good.
But sometimes it's this move that you're like, oh, well, I didn't think much of this coach, and all of a sudden they've kept continuity at least. Yeah. Like they lose Ryan Dinwiddie, they kept things going.
One of those franchises too where they miss the playoffs, then win the Grey Cup. Like it just, I don't get them. Like there's never too much
until
off
Dinwiddie
period.
Was there. Dinwiddie built some success for a period of time.
Yeah, but again too, like you're bringing still in Huff, and you're bringing in Barker, and your head coach is still from in-house. Like
the only fear I have is they lost John Murphy. Well, they fired John Murphy.
You got Huff again, man. Like
I know
Huff has been doing it in Calgary. Like they've been relevant and in the picture for forever, right? Except for 2 years ago when they missed the playoffs. Like they've been fine, right?
John Murphy just found players, though.
John Murphy,
he learned from Huff.
Yeah.
He did it in Saskatchewan with Chris Jones. He went to Toronto.
But like you said, he learned from Huff.
Yeah,
Huff is Huff.
Yeah, I know. That's why I have the fear for Calgary too. Is that even though he wasn't as fully involved these last number of years, he's still around.
Yeah,
and it seemed like Calgary was just ready to move on from him, and it just doesn't make sense why you'd move on from John Hufnagel.
He's kind of a figurehead there.
Yeah,
it's become Dave's show.
I know, but it's just nice to have Huff there to.
Who with the players? I know we don't got a lot of time left, but with the players left, are you?
There's a list somewhere. I don't remember who. Is it 3 down that's going to have the list?
3 down. Duncan, those guys.
Been doing a good job.
JC, they've been all over it.
Okay, well, they're looking up that stuff. Tommy G. NFL had 10 head coaching openings. Your team was the last to hire.
Was it Mike
LaFleur? Yeah.
LaFleur.
I don't know. Are you happy with that? Where are you
Second,
at?
I didn't know much about Jonathan Gannon either. My team, we have a weird owner. I'm going to use we in this Arizona Cardinals context. Michael Bidwell Jr. The Bruce Arians, Steve Keim era was the most consistent, steady in my time following this team for the last 2 decades. Outside of that, it's been an absolute mess. Yeah. And I don't care for Kyler Murray. I'm when he moves on, whether it's this year, next year, whatever.
It's close.
I'm done with him. Yeah, like this franchise is a mess. I will support them. I don't waver. That's how you stick with the team.
Okay, but you don't have any positives or negatives to say about your new coach. You just
you're forever in purgatory kind of thing. Hey, like
that's just who they are. It's their identity. Like
sweet.
The Larry Fitzgerald, Kurt Warner era. Again, that was Steve Keim and Bruce Arians. Like there was stability there. Now it's just like, all right, bring in the next guy. It's going to be the same mess.
Hope for a 5 win, but not even. No. You don't even want a 5 win season.
No, I mean they started 2-0, and then just
lose
awful. But they beat Dallas on Monday night.
Yeah.
Some soft free agents left. Marc-Antoine Dubois from Montreal. He is not signed. You have, this is according to the 3 down list, Curly Gittins Jr. from Edmonton hasn't signed anywhere. They had Kobe Williams from Edmonton hasn't signed anywhere. Dominic Rhymes hasn't signed anywhere. MBT is next. Anthony Lanier. Joshua Coker, who's an offensive lineman from Calgary. William Stanbeck. Sean McEwen from Saskatchewan.
He didn't play it down last year.
Dalton Schoen, Josh Woods. Those are kind of where we're at. Lorenzo Malden the fourth.
That one I'm a little surprised.
Micah
that he's still
Alway is a
around.
free agent.
Yeah,
So that's kind of where we're at.
Didn't
so
Alway have a big year last year?
he did.
What do they
but
say
they brought in
here?
Sankey.
Yeah.
114 defensive tackles, 3 special teams tackles, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble in 2025.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Plus the passport.
Yep.
Canadian.
He's American.
I think he's Canadian.
No, they have an A next to his name.
Were you scrolling down there because they had a top 50 list going?
I'm on
into-
the top 50.
Okay, so did Edmonton not get number 2 and number 3 on their list?
According to the 3 Down Nation top 50, Malik Carney was number 2. Number 3 was Coulter Woodmansey. So both went to
offensive line,
Edmonton.
So if we get number 2 and 3 on the list, and everyone's touting up Ottawa and Winnipeg as the big heroes of the free agency, I'm like, Edmonton got 2 and 3. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Ottawa's the big winner of free agency because they signed the most. You guys
They
you're still keeping a lot of your core.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Ottawa signed like 9 guys or something yesterday,
Yeah.
but they also signed some pretty decent, like pretty good names.
Who was number 1 on the list again, sorry?
Offensive lineman from BC, Gerald Broxton. He went to Winnipeg.
Okay.
So they got him. They got Neal. They got Serezna. But Ottawa got Revis. They got Allen.
AJ Allen,
They got Greg Bell.
Mayer.
Mayer. Did they not bring in a receiver before free agency?
Well, we were talking about this before, like Mike's went on too, but Jake Serezna get big bucks in Winnipeg, and they're telling him as this great signing. He
Baldwin
had
Auto,
a terrible year last year before he got hurt and was out for the rest of the year, and it was a significant injury. He's posting stuff online of his rehab, and he looks like he's coming. And
He's got the knee brace
he's a
on.
beast.
Yeah, he is.
But man, like that's a risky signing for Winnipeg in a lot of ways, I think.
I like Jake Serezna.
Well,
I'm hoping for him.
Yeah, and me too. But that's a big money for a guy coming off a bad year and a significant injury.
Yeah.
Ottawa also brought in Niles Morgan via the trade.
right,
They
yeah.
brought in Aiden Eberhard from BC on some pretty good money. So you got him with Hardy and you got Eugene Lewis as your receiving
Baldwin
core.
from the Riders too.
And then they got Demario Houston as well. So they brought it. They're like Edmonton last year. Brought in a lot of names. Brought in some really good names. Now could it meld? Could it mesh?
It's a building year in Ottawa.
Still can't get over the minimal return that Edmonton got for Niles Morgan. Like that guy is a beast.
2 picks.
And then
pick
one went the other
swaps.
way or something.
2 pick swaps.
But
we just moved up in 2 rounds a few spots.
But the reality is, if Ottawa sits there and says we don't want him, we're not making a trade. What's Edmonton gonna do? They're just gonna release him.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Ottawa scoops him up.
It's the same like in the NFL. You see a lot of good. Like Randy Moss went for like a third.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes
But you're
you see
in
that,
a
yeah.
position of have in order to get rid of him because you had others. Now, do they have somebody? And that's another like. Do they have somebody already in the draft that they think might?
Well,
You know,
For-
and
for
if-
the
I was just going to
Elks,
say that too. They get number 1 overall. I mean, typically does the number 1 overall come in and make an immediate impact? I mean, DeBlanco was number 1 overall 2 years
2 years
ago.
ago. This
and
was
now,
his second season.
Now he is making a pretty significant impact now. But I mean, that's another piece to the puzzle that could potentially come in and be an impact player for us from day one with the right birth certificate.
The thing that the Elks got too is they got the cap space. They moved Niles Morgan's number
Yeah.
off the
That was a
books,
big part.
swapped
Sure.
some picks.
Yeah.
Now they could go Morgan, DeBlanco, Mogensen, and Logan Jr. as 3 of 4 of those guys will play in the
rotate,
linebacking
a
core.
little bit.
And
It gives
how
you the
many of
money.
those
It
on-
gives you the money maybe to go get Malik Kearney.
Yeah.
Because
How many
you
of
did
those
that.
are on rookie contracts still?
None.
DeBlanco maybe.
Oh, maybe
Blanco,
so.
yeah.
The Blanco.
I don't
Nick
know.
Anderson re-upped after his
Yeah.
rookie year. Mogensen got a new deal.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But I don't know when that like those kick in. This is where we need like a
Wasn't
puck
it just
beat or
was it an extension or a new deal?
we need something.
Yeah.
Again, don't lie about the money, as Dave Jameson once said, just to make Big Maple happy. But give us like what type of deals are they on or something. Give me a cap friendly. Tell me how much the Elks
That would be-
are. How much cap space do the Elks have left?
Yeah.
Thing. I just want to know
It'd
that.
be great to know.
That'd be a great tool to have.
That's almost it for the EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada Storage experts. More than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transition. Find the latest deals with Sentinel at sentinel.ca. They always have some sort of deal coming. We've got Lock Shop coming up today at 11. Myself and Dusty. We will cook up another Super Bowl play of the day for sure in that one. I'm sure we'll talk some CFL free agency. We've got Oil Stream today, EST Afternoons, Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne all the way until 6 o'clock. Jay Milne says, he's texted me, Justin Dunk will be on their show at 4:40 today.
Nice.
Today we'll
Nice.
talk some CFL free agency and get his take on what's going on for the third year in a row. EST, we've covered CFL free agency.
How was Dunk on the broadcast with the Riders last year?
So he was doing like the pre and post, right? Like
Yeah.
he's good. Like
knows his
he's a pro, right? So
Yeah.
he's just facilitating how everything goes. But it's always just nice to have somebody who's, into the league, knows the league, doing it as opposed to an old rock DJ getting a job, and if you know, you know. But
Yep.
yeah. So no, it's just like he's great. He did what he needed to do, and they got good guys on, and he can ask the right questions. Say what if you like Dunk, you like him. If you don't, you don't. But he did a good job. Yeah.
I'm a big Dunk fan.
I just want more coverage of this league. So if somebody's going to give it, it's not like the league needs Sportsnet. This league needs Sportsnet to also get involved in this one.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Before they want to have a TV deal for next season.
I want
locked up.
CBC back with that desk of like 25 guys on it.
Grey Cup Sunday?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Sean Millington, was he on there?
Yeah, I have Benefield and all these.
Elliot Friedman, bring him back to all
Wallaby
those things.
Warriors. Yeah, all of them. Bring them all back.
Murray, thanks so much for coming in. Lucas, thank you very much for that, and the coffee and the Egg McMuffins. This is always fun. Our yearly tradition with Lucas. Thank you to everyone for tuning into the EST Hangout here, presented by Sentinel Storage. As I said, coming up next, we got the Lock Shop with Dusty and myself on behalf of Lucas, Murray, Tommy, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in here at Edmonton Sports Talk, a clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. Lock Shop in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us today.